Good morning, kids and parents. Miss Stone here, and today we're going to be talking about evaluating an argument. So, up until this point, so all last week, you guys were analyzing an argument. So, I'm going to quickly just talk about the difference between analyzing and evaluating. So, analyzing means to pick something apart and take it into pieces, whereas evaluating means that we're making a judgment about that particular argument. Excuse me. And when we are analyzing, we're just, finding the claim, finding the evidence, right? When we're evaluating an argument, we are trying to make a judgment about if that position or claim is valid. So a valid argument means that it is true, it is right, it is good, and that it is relevant to what's going on today. Okay, so that is what we're going to be focusing on today, is evaluating an argument, seeing if its evidence meets our standards. So before you evaluate, you have to analyze those. So we're going to kind of start there very briefly. So we're going to read this very, very short little argument. And first, we're going to bold the claim, underline the evidence, and highlight in red any information that does not support the claim. So dedicating research money to the development of affordable solar-powered cars would be a wise investment. First, solar cars would help end our dependence on fossil fuels like oil and coal, which contribute to the pollution of our atmosphere. In addition, solar power is a renewable resource, unlike fossil fuels. It will never run out. Solar cars would also help the consumer save money. Panels attached to cars can collect sunlight and turn it into electricity, so no one would ever need to buy another tank of gas. Finally, solar-powered cars would also come in all the same colors as gas-powered cars. So, the first thing that we're going to do is bold the claim. So, our claim is that dedicating money to researching solar-powered cars is a wise investment. So, the first thing that we're going to do, bold. Okay. Then we have to underline any evidence. Well, the evidence that they give us is that solar cars would help reduce pollution in our atmosphere. So we're going to underline that. Then it talks about how solar power is a renewable resource. So we're going to underline that. And then finally, the other thing that is really important is that solar powered cars make their own electricity, and so it's going to save people money. So that can be found right here, right? Because it's talking about the solar panels and never needing to buy a tank of gas. And you guys have probably heard your parents talk about how expensive gas is. So any information that does not support the claim, though, are going to be highlighted in red. So what we're going to do, talking about the same colors doesn't really support the claim that it's going to be more affordable. So we're going to take our highlight color and highlight that in red. And that's really the only piece of information that does not support the claim. Okay, so from there, so we've analyzed the claim, right? We've pulled it apart, we've pulled the argument apart and put it into pieces. Now, if you see below, I've already put this into a little chart for you. All that information you just found is already in the chart. Now, we have to trace the reasoning behind the argument, and then we have to judge whether the author provides enough evidence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say to myself, do I think that the author provided enough evidence to support their claim that putting money into researching solar-powered cars is a good idea. Well, they give some facts that solar cars would help to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels. We know that fossil fuels are a non-renewable resource, and that means that we're not going to get any more. The amount that we have is what we've got for all eternity. So I would say that, yeah, I would agree that this claim has been supported by sufficient, meaning that sufficient means enough evidence. And so I would say, yes, the author has really supported their claim very well, that their reasons make sense, and that their argument, because of that, their argument is valid, means that it's a good idea to buy into that claim. Okay, so valid, remember, valid means true, it makes sense, and it is relevant to the claim. All right, so once we get down here, it says from a generational challenge to repower America. So this is from a speech by Al Gore about meeting energy needs. So I'm going to just briefly read that for you. So it says, what if we could use fuels that are not expensive, don't cause pollution, and are abundantly available right here at home? We have such fuels. Scientists have confirmed that enough solar energy falls on the surface of the Earth every 40 minutes to meet 100% of the entire world's energy needs for a full year. Tapping just a small portion of this solar energy could provide all of the electricity America uses, and enough wind power blows through the Midwest corridor every day to also meet 100% of the U.S. electricity demand. Geothermal energy, similarly, is capable of providing enormous supplies of energy or electricity for America. So if you continue down, so it says explore how to answer this question. So this is the question that we are trying to answer by analyzing first, remember picking it apart, finding the claim, finding the evidence, and then evaluating how well do they support their argument. So it says this excerpt follows a section of the speech which Gore makes claims about the dangers of relying on expensive foreign oil. What is Gore's claim in this part of the speech? So we have to kind of infer his claim because he doesn't like come right out and say it. So remember, an inference is when we have to kind of read between the lines and figure out what the author is trying to say but not outright saying it. Well, to me, it definitely seems that he's saying that we can use fuels that are cheaper, cleaner, and easily accessible in comparison to like oil and non-renewable resources. Well, what evidence does he have that supports this claim? Well, he says here that we have solar energy can provide all of the electricity that we need. So I'm going to underline that. And then it also talks about how when wind could provide 100% of our electricity demand. So I'm going to underline that as well. And then I'm going to go down and put that into my own words. So he says that solar power creates enough electricity to meet 100% of our needs. Now, if you remember from our types of evidence lesson, that when he's talking about 100%, right, that would be a statistic. So that's statistical evidence. So then the other piece that we identified was that wind power coming from the Midwest. So the Midwest has enough wind power to meet 100% of the U.S. electricity needs. So if you're doing this on a Google Doc like me, sometimes it lags a little bit, so you need to be kind of careful about double typing. Um, and I obviously made a misspelling there. So if we scroll down, all right. So this is where you are going to kind of take over in your reading, okay? So I'm going to ask that you read this section since I have kind of walked you through analyzing and evaluating. Now I want you to try and analyze and then evaluate using this question. And I do give you some hints and some instructions to kind of help you out. So I want you to analyze and evaluate the claim that he's making down here. Okay? So good luck, and if you have any questions, please let me know as soon as possible. Have a good afternoon. Bye.